2025. It's a blueprint for the university's role as a national asset, and it guides how we respond to national, regional, continental, and global challenges and priorities. Within the UP 2025 plan, we have 3 sequential 5-year planning horizons to guide and shape our direction and enable us to respond to the changing landscape of higher education and research. In 2022, we are moving into the 3rd and final phase of implementing UP 2025. This is an opportunity to move forward in reimagining and strengthening UP's position as a leading research-intensive university in Africa, recognized internationally for its quality, relevance, and impact, and for developing people, creating knowledge and making a difference locally and globally. Our goals are to enhance successful student learning and access to it, strengthen the university's research, international profile and global engagement, foster and sustain a transformed, inclusive and equitable university community, enhance institutional sustainability, and strengthen the university's social responsiveness and impact in society. But now it is time to prepare our pathway beyond 2025. We function in a globally connected world with changing conditions influencing circumstances across local, national, continental, and global domains. So, in this final phase of implementing UP 2025, we are taking a forward-looking approach, a futuristic look. We will boldly pursue the public good, focusing on national priorities and global sustainability goals. We will embrace digital transformation, and we will grow and strengthen our partnerships and collaborations locally, across the continent, and globally. How will we know when we've got there? We will have a dynamic institutional culture, fostering diversity and inclusion, with all students and staff striving for excellence. Curiosity and entrepreneurial spirit will abound. Our cutting-edge research will be at the forefront of knowledge. We will attract the continent's best talent. Our facilities will be world-class. We will influence policy to allow people to thrive. UP will be recognized as a leader in South Africa and Africa's social and economic development and transformation. We will do this through strengthening an integrated approach, driving a transdisciplinary agenda, and establishing a culture of innovation. We foresee a resilient, sustainable, and future-focused UP, a reimagined UP that turns threats into opportunities and introduces innovations and technologies that will benefit the university and society at large. UP will be known for its meaningful contributions to society through the skilled graduates it produces and relevant research that demonstrate impact. This is not just UP management's plan, it is everyone's guideline to ensure the success of the university. It's important that we all commit to its implementation. Let's work together and make today and the future matter.
Good morning and a warm welcome to the UP Virtual Academic Opening and 114th birthday celebration. I am Samantha Castle, Senior Manager for Alumni Relations in the Department of Institutional Advancement. Today is a very special day in the life of the University of Pretoria as we celebrate our institution's 114th birthday. What an incredible milestone. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19 regulations, we are unable to cut the cake and enjoy this event in person, but I do hope you will find today's proceedings meaningful. As with any birthday, allowing an opportunity to pause and reflect is an integral part of celebrating another year around the sun. So please indulge me for a few moments as I go down memory lane. UP started life 114 years ago in February 1908 as the Transvaal University's College or Transvaal University College, which is where the popular acronym TUX comes from, and was based in Kaiarosa, a 4-bedroom house in Skinner Street in center of Pretoria. Over the years, we have become one of Africa's top universities. We are ranked in the top 5 of South African universities and in the top 2% of universities worldwide. We produce graduates who are creative and critical thinkers that are ready for the world of work or starting their own businesses. Our staff's passion and commitment to research and education has enabled us to achieve these milestones and truly impact and transform lives in our country, our continent, and in this world. However, after more than a century, we need to reevaluate and reimagine our own role in society and where we can chart a new and a dynamic future for UP. As a university, we are guided by our overall vision and strategic goals. In order to achieve what we have set out to do, we need to work together to achieve student success and access, high quality research for greater societal impact, global recognition, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and institutional sustainability. But before we enter into our panel discussion today, I'd like to invite our Vice Chancellor and Principal, Professor Tawana Coupe, to set the scene and also share his birthday message with the university this morning. Professor Coupe, over to you.
A very good morning to everyone and welcome to our birthday. As we celebrate our 114th birthday, there is no better time to think about where we've come from, where we are now, what our priorities are, and what future UP envisages for itself. 114 years ago, in a very different time, the Pretoria Center of the Transvaal University College, or TACS, the acronym for the Afrikaans version of the name, Transvaal Universities College, opened its doors on the 10th of February, 1908, for 32 students and 4 professors. Today, we are a diverse institution with over 56,000 undergraduate, postgraduate, and distance education students, 9 faculties, and a business school. How far we have come. It is with pride and humility that we can say our university today is known for and is continuously increasing in stature with regards to the quality of our education, the skilled graduates we produce, the relevance impact of our research, our engagement with communities and partners, locally and globally, and our proactive role at the forefront of society as an agent of innovation and transformation. For all of these reasons and more, we are optimistic about the future of our university and what we can achieve going forward. I would like to extend my deep gratitude to all our staff, students, and stakeholders, internal and external. We couldn't have done this without you. It is you who make UP the top university it is today, a top university that is making a significant contribution to South Africa, our continent Africa, and the world. The lingering COVID-19 pandemic, which has extended from 2020 to the present, has seriously challenged us all. It has proved to be both a disruptive force and an opportunity to reimagine and reposition UP to secure our short-term, medium-term, and long-term success, vitality, and sustainability, which requires of us to think and act more creatively, more innovatively, and more sustainably. As you all know, the university accelerated the implementation of innovative and systemic processes in a direct response to the challenges of the pandemic and the demands of the era. UP's agility enabled it to advance its strategic imperatives, including implementing a comprehensive COVID-19 master plan and successfully completing the 2020 and 2021 academic year within those years. The latter achievement was largely attributable to the university's digitalization trajectory with teaching and learning, research and innovation, and all operational functionings pivoting seamlessly onto digital platforms. In 2022, we are in the third and final phase of implementing the UP 2025 vision. The road to 2025 is divided into 3 sequential 5-year planning blueprints that started in 2012, which we call the strategic plans, the 5-year strategic plans, to guide and shape our direction and enable us to respond to the changing landscape of global developments, society, higher education, and research. Our current 5-year strategic plan, which starts this year, passed by Council in December last year, spans 2022 to 2026. This is a bit of an anomaly because we didn't exactly start the first one with a 5-year period. But what we will do in that space is make sure our next plan, we complete the 5-year plan inside 4 years, and we create a new vision 2026. And our quest to embed resilience and growth in all our operations has enabled us to navigate the headwinds and complexities we have faced to date. In developing the 2022 to 2026 strategic plan, we have gone to the considerable effort to engage all constituencies of the university community. Consultations were held with deans, directors, academic and professional services staff, representatives of the student body, and organized labor. We, of course, also consulted with our governance structure council, which ultimately passed the plan. At the core of this plan is the aspiration to reimagine UP from now to 2026 and beyond. It requires accelerating the growth of a thriving, sustainable university without borders that strengthens our mission of positively impacting society, ensuring that we are proactively respond to the complex, interconnected crises confronting us, as expressed in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, whose target is 2030, Africa's Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, and the National Development Plan also, whose target achievement date is 2030. Sustainability at UP is about building a robust present and future, both for UP and society at large. Our commitment to sustainability permeates all aspects of institutional life. These: student access and success, research and innovation, organizational performance across all domains, diversification of revenue streams, increasing third stream income, transformation, resource utilization, procurement, campus services, the built environment, energy and water utilization, and waste management pursuant to environmental sustainability goals, information and communication technology, staff and student well-being, and institutional leadership. UP views these students and staff as its most valuable asset. And to ensure continued growth and success, the university's financial sustainability plan for the period 2019 to 2025 includes the maximization of operational efficiencies, cost containment, as well as the optimization of all income streams, including external income streams. UP is in a satisfactory but not the best financial position, despite the numerous cuts to its funding support and the negative economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. While the university's income has grown, in the current economic conditions, this is under threat. External sources of funding, which have remained static over the past few years, will need to be grown to counter the decline in statutory funding, in particular, specifically government funding, and the capping of tuition fees. Partnerships are essential to achieve this goal. Notwithstanding the threat to financial sustainability facing all universities, we are called upon to play an increasingly prominent role in shaping society at large as responsive institutions for the public good. Such a role includes influencing societal transformation, redressing historical legacies, and enabling society to change for the better. Responding to this, our goals are to enhance successful student learning and access, strengthen the university's international profile and global engagement, foster and sustain a transformed, inclusive, and equitable university community, and enhance institutional sustainability all round, and strengthen the university's social responsiveness and impact in society. As a leading research-intensive university in Africa, it requires of us to think and act globally, to come together and think and act not only in terms of our university, our country, our continent, but also in terms of our world. The world needs good, strong, well-educated leaders in every sector. UP is currently rated among the top 1% globally in 13 of the 22 essential science indicator fields, otherwise called ESSI, compared to 10 in 27. So you see institutional improvement over there. These fields are plant and animal science, clinical medicine, environment, and ecology, engineering, molecular biology and genetics, microbiology, chemistry, biology and biochemistry, social sciences, immunology, economics and business, agricultural sciences and pharmacology and toxicology. You can see that the university is all-rounded in terms of the disciplines in which it is top in the world. Every profession and field of study is dynamic and requires regular renewal. Every field of study and research holds the power to advance our humanity. We can achieve scale and critical mass in advancing humanity and sustainability through transdisciplinary alliances, collaborations, and partnerships and networks with other leading local and global academic institutions and research networks. And in this regard, we have grown in richness with global partnerships all over the world. Industry, communities, governmental and non-governmental entities that are committed to transcending institutional, national, and continental boundaries and borders. Knowledge knows no borders. We already have strong examples of this, and we need more, and we will grow these partnerships. Trans-university and transcontinental collaborations lead to other collaborations between disciplines, civil society, and business, with the consequent effect of transforming society and the world. To offer one of many examples, New York University's Stern Business School of Business, one of the top business schools in the world, is currently in discussion with Gibbs, our business school in Johannesburg, Gordon Institute of Business Science. Both have strong business and government networks, and this can be leveraged to partner in a range of programs and projects in a wide range of fields, including but not limited to entrepreneurialism, startups, and small business incubation between higher education institutions facilitated by governments can enable a new form of internationalization that provides huge potential for international collaboration, cooperation, and business growth. And we know we need business growth in this 21st century. Transdisciplinarity is the call of the hour, as interrelated challenges and opportunities are evident across the political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental dimensions, known as the PESTL dimensions, that are influencing dynamics across the local, national, continental, global spectrum. In other words, silos must go. Over the past 5 years, UP has developed several major new transdisciplinary platforms, including the Future Africa Institute and Campus, from where I'm speaking, the Javed UP Art Center, Engineering 4.0, a kilometer across from here, Innovation Africa at UP, where Future Africa and Engineering 4 and the Experimental Farm and the Hillscratch Sports Complex are situated, and the Center for the latest, the Center for the Future of Work. We continue to grow these platforms because transdisciplinarity is simply our future, and our transdisciplinarity, by the way, is based on strong disciplinary training, multidisciplinary expertise, and then graduating into transdisciplinarity. These platforms foster a transdisciplinary research culture across the university community and will help create a critical mass of researchers for new knowledge generation that is transformative of society. UP's current international profile is made up of 230 institution-wide international partners with collaborators in more than 50 countries across 6 continents and more than 4,500 international students from more than 60 countries, including our continent, Africa. The significant advantage of One World collaboration is that it enables us to make important advances in teaching, learning, research, and innovation by building on each other's areas of expertise. In this environment, ICT is an essential strategic resource. To grow as a university and at the same time to advance humanity, we need to produce a whole lot more PhDs and entrepreneurs in South Africa and the continent. PhDs are able to train the next generation of postgraduates and leverage their local and international networks to grow strong partnerships. PhDs also have the skills to produce patents and turn research findings into new growth areas for economies. The more quality PhDs a country has, the more of an indicator it is as to what we can achieve as a society and make a contribution to the continent and the world. We have already made strong headway in establishing partnerships between our university and a network of universities, governments, businesses, and organizations locally and globally to advance our postgraduate imperative. In this regard, I would like to proudly announce that UP has the largest number of academics with PhDs, 70% as I stand here. This is unprecedented on the African continent. This is essential for our continent where approximately 65% of Africa's citizens are below the age of 35. Unmet expectations of a large young population drive disillusionment and escalating activism. We need to create conditions for more young people to reach their full potential, starting at the early childhood development stage, followed by high-quality basic education and equally high-quality post-school education and training. Inequality is a major and growing challenge and is shaped along historical, racial, gender, and class lines, and geographic lines as well, and includes vast disparities in the human condition, economic inequality, and unequal to access to resources and services. At UP, about 33,000 or 45% of our students are directly involved in community projects and practical work as part of their curriculum, and more than 130 of our student organizations are involved in voluntary social responsibility projects. Community engagement and social responsibility is not an add-on. It's not just a merely conscience-driven, I must do something about this. It is a core role and responsibility of higher education, and this is a global trend. Currently, UP is the only African university on the Global University Social Responsiveness Network, an international group of the top 15 universities in the world in this field. We hosted the World Congress last year at this very venue. UP is also represented on the Toilers Network, another international association of universities committed to strengthening the civic roles and social responsibilities of higher education. The QS World University Rankings recognize the importance of this, stating in their report that, quote, social responsibility is best understood as the idea that organizations, institutions, and individuals have an obligation to act for the benefit of society, close quote. They've developed the QS STARS rating to advance an empirical understanding of community engagement and social responsibility and how universities can and should be implementing it. At UP, we embrace this obligation gladly. We see ourselves as an anchor institution in our communities with a direct impact on the local economy, the safety and security, well-being and sustainability of our people and environment. At the Viva Village in Mamelody's Alaska Township, for example, we're part of a multi- and transdisciplinary community engagement hub in which all our faculties are involved, including psychology, social work, geology, engineering, health sciences, medicine, nursing, occupational therapy, physiotherapy, nutrition, and radiology. They work together with communities, community healthcare workers, and clinics to provide a holistic service. We do the same in Zamazama Squatter Camp, Plastic View Squatter Camp, and the pop-up clinic of Salvocop. We identify common health issues and address these, from improving hearing through the 3D printed middle ear transplants innovated at our university, to addiction treatment, to sustainable agriculture and affordable nutrition, challenges that afflict our communities. In terms of education, we have several high school learner engagement programs in disadvantaged communities to ensure that greater numbers of matric learners achieve access to UP and other higher education institutions. Our students contribute to this through their tax, leadership, and individual program, TULIP, a leading STAR organization. This is a student-run nonprofit that works with promising learners from 4 under-resourced Pretoria schools. Primary goal is for these learners to get into a tertiary institution. The initiative is a 5-tier program that engages learners during their entire high school career. Currently in South Africa, only 12% of matriculants will access university, with only 4% achieving an undergraduate degree within 6 years of entry. We are playing our part in increasing access to quality higher education, which keeps a critical mass of the population with the necessary knowledge, capabilities, and high-level skills to increase employment entrepreneurship, and improve the economy. At UP, access by previously excluded groups has progressively improved in our staff and student population. The total black staff representation grew from 37.1% in 2012 to 67.8% in 2010, with black academic staff growing from 19.4% to 29%. Of course, we need to improve these figures, and we have a plan which we are implementing to do so. The percentage of black undergraduate contact students increased from 45.2% in 2012 to 61.5% in 2021, diversifying our undergraduate cohort. Similarly, for the same period, the proportion of black undergraduate students increased from 53.1% to 65.6%. The percentage of black first-time entering undergraduate students increased from 44.8% in 2012 to 63.1% in 2021. So over the period of UP 2025, you can see clear indicators of progress. And enrollments in science, engineering, and technology, which the basis of which critical skills needed in our economy rests, study fields for black students increased from 48.1% to 59% respectively. One of our priorities for 2022 is to develop student success dashboards based on artificial intelligence predictions and quality data. We have a comprehensive program to support the academic development of our students from first year onwards, including services to support students academically, socially, and in terms of their mental health and well-being. The high priority afforded to the mental health and wellness of staff and students was of particular importance from the outset of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. There was an increase in depression, anxiety, and gender-based violence across the country, stemming from the pressures of isolation experienced over an unexpectedly lengthy national hard lockdown. The professional psychological support of the student counseling unit adapted to virtual counseling and extra professional assistance was secured from the likes of SADC. And a team of UP psychologists and psychiatrists created a Wellbeing at UP blog to provide students and staff with support and advice on boosting their psychological and physical health in the context of the pandemic. Sport. In terms of the competition side, but equally the development, health, and well-being side, is emphasized, valorized at UP. We are Africa's premier sports university, with many of our athletes succeeding nationally and internationally, including in the Olympics. Remember Tatiana Schoonmaker. Our well-renowned high-performance center is a major draw card for student athletes to study at the university. We even own a high school, TAC-Sport High School, which has been running for the last 20 years. Our Sport, Exercise and Medicine and Lifestyle Institute, launched in 2018, further distinguishes UP as a center of excellence in sports medicine, sports science, research on healthy lifestyles. In terms of a healthy lifestyle, I try to lead by example. Try because sometimes I miss my run. With regular long-distance walking, which gets the blood circulation going, helps me to find solutions and achieve peace of mind, especially when I'm hiking on mountains. The priorities for sport in our UP 2025 strategic plan include providing access to qualifying student athletes, supporting student athletes on an educational and coaching level to ensure their success, leveraging sports science research inter alia via the Sport, Exercise, Medicine and Lifestyle Institute, which I referred to above, to provide TAC-Sport and our student athletes with a competitive edge, and transforming the university into a university with an inclusive and winning culture, a university with a reputation for excellence that has a positive impact on society. With regards to arts and culture, UP prides itself in the diversity of its arts and culture offerings, which include museums, a conservation facility, music ensembles, halls and theaters, and the vast art and heritage collections. UP's music program is the largest in South Africa and covers everything from symphony orchestras to choral music. The nation's rich musical heritage is represented in the repertoires of the UP Symphony Orchestra, the UP Symphonic Winds, and those of its choirs, from the renowned Tax Camerata, over 50 years old, with prestigious CDs to its name, to the Ovua ensembles, dynamic performances of indigenous music and dance forms. UP's other outstanding cultural offering is in the wealth of art and artifacts contained in our numerous museums and galleries and collections, including the priceless Mapungubwe Archive. The museums underpin UP's substantial arts education programs, including the groundbreaking Masters in Tangible Heritage Conservation. In all ways, we are focused on making sure that our students and graduates gain the emotional, psychological, physical, and academic strength and skills they need to achieve university and career success in the future world of work. This includes extending digital skills across all disciplines. We need to decide how deeply we can and need to further invest in IT infrastructure to advance teaching and learning, research, innovation, and engagement. As we all know, classroom face-to-face teaching is forever changed. 4IR technologies have fostered digital teaching with high-flex models, video conferencing, and virtual reality tools, offering us the ability to reach more students simultaneously without physical classroom constraints. What we need to address is how much more students do we want to reach and which type of students and which programs. Our contact face-to-face element is, though not gone, it is complemented by the online modes. There are so many new areas we can pursue, and the vehicle for this is digitalization, which is one of our core functions. UP is proudly 99% digitalized. Of course, digitalization is only part of the picture. PwC's 2019 report entitled Workforce of the Future 2030, Global Trends Challenged by African Realities lists the top generic skills for the future as sense-making, social intelligence, adaptive thinking, strong people management, group coordination, judgment, negotiating, decision-making skills, cross-cultural competencies, computational thinking, new media literacy, transdisciplinarity, a design mindset, and virtual collaboration. We need to incorporate this into the curriculum on two levels. We want all our students to develop these generic skills across all disciplines, and they need to be digitally literate, with all students taking modules such as data analytics and data sciences, where we are already deep into the fourth industrial revolution, and we have entered the waters of Society 5.0, a system where the combination of human skills, collaborative robotics, and artificial intelligence complement each other in creating a sustainable society and planet with humans at the center of a cyber-physical system. The concept of Society 5.0 emanated from Japan in 2016, when the Japanese government disseminated information on the fifth Basic Plan for Science and Technology 2016 to 2020. They called the initiative Society 5.0. It follows the Hunting Society, Society 1.0, Agricultural Society, Society 2.0, Industrial Society, Society 3.0, and the Information Society, Society 4.0. In Society 5.0, as our new Center for the Future of Work's Interim Director, Professor Natasha Holzhausen explains, human-centeredness returns just in time because it is going to take human collaboration, aided by technology and new knowledge, to improve quality of life, social and economic responsibility, environmental sustainability, and to shift us from the planetary tipping point. Universities need to play a crucial role in the co-evolving of democracy, environmentalism, and the innovation-driven knowledge economy, presented by the quintuple helix, which elevates environmental sustainability as necessary to the transition of societies and economies in the 21st century. UP has embraced environmental sustainability as an institutional imperative and has implemented various strategies related to carbon management, energy, water and waste management, recycling, and ecologically sustainable infrastructure. The university published its first ever integrated sustainable development report in 2020, which was welcomed by some United Nations agencies and units, showing the progress towards integrating sustainability into all aspects of the institution and the various gains that UP has made across the different dimensions of sustainability. We need to seize the opportunities for sustainable growth, development and transformation, and reimagining ourselves, which, as you all know, we started in 2021 as part of the reimagining of UP. Several areas are central to this, and I'll touch on some of them from our strategic plan. I've already spoken about the need to increase our PhDs in every field. Central to our research strategy is the commitment to pursue research that matters. That is, research that transforms lives and communities and addresses complex societal challenges. Another area we need to address is lifelong learning. The emerging trends of education technology for lifelong learning are very exciting. A 2018 report on the future of jobs from the World Economic Forum estimated that 54% of all jobs will require fundamental reskilling or upskilling, what we call it in UP, to learn, to unlearn, and to relearn. The report showed that companies recognize the importance of lifelong learning and plan to invest more in this. Then there is curriculum transformation, the curriculum transformation drive, through which we are actively discarding archaic, outdated practices and processes and beliefs that hinder transformation and knowledge expansion, befitting a 21st century, future-focused, future-oriented university. We seek a curriculum that assets and celebrates our capacity to produce cutting-edge teaching and research with a global reach, and which prepares graduates to optimally contribute to the context in which they will live and work. Entrepreneurship is very much part of this and now widely recognized as being a critical component of higher education worldwide, where there is a strong movement to grow small and medium-sized enterprises which often actually employ more people and give better livelihoods to larger numbers of people. The role of SMEs in innovation and employment is essential, and entrepreneurship needs to be a core focus for sustainable economic growth, improved quality of life, and social well-being. UP aspires to the highest achievement in the triangular alliance of critical knowledge and thinking, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Our technology and business incubator, Tax Innovation, provides an environment where innovators flourish and where the internationalization of startups is growing. Cutting across everything that we do is transformation. It is an integral to our core mission of teaching and learning, research, and societal engagement. At UP, transformation seeks to achieve two interrelated aims: diversity and inclusion. It is important that we become more diverse and inclusive knowledge community to enable us to contribute to building a new society that is, as the Constitution enjoins us to do, non-racist, non-sexist, and democratic, just, equal, and equitable, and prosperous. Diversity and inclusion at UP includes, but is not limited to race. It extends to gender, disability, sexual orientation, different beliefs, intellectual ideas, as well as embracing of people from our continent and the rest of the world. Our transformation program is integral to our academic program: curriculum, research, agenda, language, spaces, and sport and recreation. All this and more informs our present goals and our envisioned future as set down in our 2022-2026 strategic plan. Fundamental to the shift from our current to our reimagined state is understanding the university as a complex system in itself, and as part of the complex landscape it exists in. In this reimagined state, we are mindful of and fully understand the linkages and dependencies between the issues we face and the way we address them for meaningful and enduring contributions to society. To optimize our performance in a complex system, key levers include strengthening financial sustainability and an integrated approach, relentlessly driving transdisciplinary agenda, establishing a culture of innovation across all university functions, strengthening the foundation for transformation and success, building capability to navigate complexity through our core functions, and positioning the university and creating greater leverage for social impact. How will we know when we've got there? We will have a dynamic institutional culture, fostering diversity and inclusion, with all students and staff striving for excellence. Curiosity and entrepreneurial spirit will abound. Our cutting-edge research will be at the forefront of knowledge. We'll attract the continent's best talent. Our facilities will be even more world-class. We'll influence policy to allow people to thrive. UP will be recognized as a leader in South Africa and Africa, and globally competitive. Africa's social and economic development and transformation. It's a lot to achieve, but we are well on our way. And as we celebrate our 114th birthday, We look forward to an exciting year and the coming years working together, and together we can do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Coupe, for your message. We are inspired and encouraged to each do our part in making sure that UP becomes this leading university on our continent. Staying in this celebratory and reflective spirit, it's important for us as a university to not only look at how far we have come, but to assess where we are and to look at where we are heading. Part of understanding where we are heading is about creating our desired future, which is discussed in the university's strategic plan titled Destination 2026 and Beyond. Therefore, in this morning's session, we hope that you will gain high-level insights into the strategic plan, have a better understanding of its development and implementation process, and also gain insight into the role that each member of this university community can play in putting the plan into action. Before I introduce the panel, I would like to take a moment to just ask our audience to post their comments and questions in our chat box, and I'll do my absolute best to make sure that we bring it into the conversation this morning. As you know, we have Professor Tawana Coupe, our Vice Chancellor and Principal, joining us in studio, who will partake as part of the panel this morning. As always, Prof. Coupe, thank you for being such an active and visible leader and making the time to lead important discussions like this. We also have Professor Gerald Omar, is the Senior Director of Institutional Planning and played a critical role in making sure that we develop this strategic plan. Welcome, Professor Omar, and thanks so much for joining us. We have Ms. Tutu Mashila, who is the President of the Student Representative Council for our 2022 academic year. Tutu, welcome, and I'm excited to hear about the role that students can play in making sure that this plan becomes a reality. Let's jump straight into it. Prof. Coupe, I'd like to start the conversation with you. In our current context of a changing and complex world, what is the relevance of a 5-year plan like this, and how does it connect to UP 2025?
So after the major disruptions of the COVID-19 pandemic, which, by the way, followed upon other ongoing disruptions in the world, technological transformation, digital advances, as well as the environmental crisis and emergence, it was necessary to begin to say that what we've been doing so far cannot just continue. It's a wake-up call. It's a moment to reset. So we decided that in order to be able to be future-oriented, we needed a revised plan, which would address the complex changes that were happening in the world and of course, address the road shock of the COVID-19 pandemic. So if you like, what the plan does is to reset the university, modernize it, put it at the forefront of being proactively able to address complex issues, and thereby help to make a contribution to a better South Africa, a better Africa, and a better world. So we done just the right moment. It was a coincidence also that our plan came within that horizon of major disruptions. So that's why we're really very proud that, we are actually have a framework, a mindset, and the energies to take us into the future.
Thank you so much, Prof. Coupe. What I hear you saying that it was a perfect opportunity for us to reimagine the future that we as a university would like to have in the context that we currently find ourselves in. With that in mind, I want to come to Professor Omar. Professor Omar, you played a critical role in making sure that we get to the point where we actually do have a plan. I would like to ask you, how did UP go about formulating this plan?
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Samantha, and happy birthday to UP. The VC has already provided a very important context, in terms of what led to the development and the context around that process. So, first of all, as the VC mentioned in his speech, we have this nested approach to planning. So we've got the UP 2025, which is the long-term vision of the university up to 2025. It's a 15-year period. Then we got these 5-year planning horizons. So in 2021, the last plan was ending, and we needed to develop a new plan to carry us from 2022 to 2026. And as the VC mentioned, the many changes that were happening in our society around us, you know, the complexities that we had to deal with, the challenges that we had to deal with, the opportunities that those changes brought as well, you know, forced us to have to deliberately think about the future of the university. This started around 2020, where we started thinking about reimagining the university, reimagining higher education in South Africa. Now, in 2020, we had a council workshop to discuss that very important topic of reimagining the University of Pretoria, which set the context. In 2021, we continued with those conversations. We had conversations at the level of the executive, you know, looking at how we've performed, what the changes that were happening in our milieu meant for us, and how we needed to position ourselves and make sure that we don't just survive in this new emerging context, but also thrive in this context. Then we had meetings that brought together the senior management team, multiple meetings. It was an iterative process. So we brought together, I mean, we had members of the executive coming together with the deans to discuss these issues, plus also directors of professional services. It did not stop there. We had engagements with organized labor where we, you know, discussed the framework that we had put together that came from the conversations, the draft framework, as it were. We had engagements with the student leadership as well. You know, they made proposals which fed into the plan. It didn't stop there. We also developed a microsite, you know, so that the entirety of the university community, you know, staff, students, academics, non-academic staff, could provide feedback on what we were trying to do. We got fantastic feedback from, you know, all the key constituencies of the university. All these were pulled together, you know. Then we developed a draft plan. It went through the same process again of engagement, you know, up to the point where we were satisfied that we had captured all the key ideas that had come out of the conversations. The plan was then put together, sent to the executive. The executive was happy with it. The executive then forwarded it to council, and council approved it.
Well, thank you, Prof. Omar, for that comprehensive explanation of the process of it. So what I'm hearing you say is that there was really a huge consultative process within the university and different stakeholders to get to the point to where we are right now and to the plan that we have now. Staying with you, Prof. Omar, I want to come back to the question about if we're looking at working towards our desired future, as we articulated in the plan, what are the key themes or goals that you think will get us there?
Quite a number of things, and the VC touched on a number of them in his speech. So number one, we want to make sure that we are an accessible institution where we attract diverse student communities, you know, including students coming from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. The VC spoke about our deliberate efforts to work with marginalized communities to make sure that we provide opportunities for them to come to us and study with us so that they can excel. So that's quite critical. It doesn't just stop at opening those opportunities for them to come, but also ensuring that when they come here, they succeed. So that there is a deliberate effort to strengthen our student success initiatives. The VC talked about the future, you know, the future world of work and all that. That's quite critical for us. So we don't just want the students to come here and succeed. We also want to future-proof them. The key attributes that the VC spoke about, those, in fact, are attributes that machines cannot do, that AI cannot do. Okay, so there are initiatives to make sure that our students can work in teams, they're creative, they're innovative, they can provide leadership, they can make decisions. Those are very important attributes. Secondly, we also have to think about the research work that we do, you know. It's not just about what we are good at. You know, the conversations that we had in the planning process pointed towards paying more attention to you know, pursuing research that makes a fundamental difference in the lives of not just the South African community, but Africa, our continent, and the world globally. That means that our research has to address wicked problems, hence the focus on transdisciplinarity, because these wicked challenges, these complex challenges do not come neatly packaged. So you need multiple perspectives for us to be able to address these challenges. So of course, transdisciplinarity, it's quite important that we institutionalize it across all the key things that we do: teaching, learning, research, and community engagement. Vitally important. Around the question of transformation, we're talking about substantive transformation. Diversity remains critical. We have to pursue inclusivity. This has to be a welcoming space for all members of this community. Now, if you look at the history of the university, for the first 86 years, certain key sections of this society were not welcome here, neither to study nor to work. So transformation remains a critically important imperative for the university. And it's not just about diversity and inclusivity, it's also in terms of our teaching and learning approaches, in terms of the research that we do, in terms of diversifying the kind of research that we do, and the researchers who help us with that work. We are a public university, we cannot ignore that, okay? So the National Development Plan is quite important for us. The VC talked about the Sustainable Development Goals, extremely important for us. We are an African university. Agenda 2063, vitally important for us. The various national policies, vitally important for us. So therefore, as a public university, which seeks to make a difference in society, we have to concern ourselves with the challenges that keep our people awake. That food security, we have to worry about water security, we have to worry about climate change, we have to worry about sustainability, we have to worry about these pandemics and how to address them. So that's vitally important. And again, of course, engaging with communities, and make an impact. The VC talked about the kinds of engagement that we're having at Mamelodi, the anchor strategy at Hatfield and all that. So that's very important, producing graduates that make a real difference in society. But other than those key things, there are also things that are internal to UP that are very important for us. Ensuring that we are an agile institution. You cannot survive in a complex environment that is continuously evolving and that is dynamic, and you're confronted with some contradictory challenges unless you're agile, unless you are creative, unless you're innovative, unless you're collaborative. So those are very, very important things for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Omar. And I would like to come to Tutu. I mean, lots of emphasis in the plan is around student success and access, which is a critical part of why this institution exists. And I want to bring you into the conversation and ask you, how do you think the student body can play an active role in making UP the leading university on this continent?
Okay, so the objective of the institution is to be a leading research-intensive university in Africa. And from a student's perspective, which is also part of the institution's strategic goal, to achieve this goal, we need a successful student learning life and we need access to it. Once we as students find ourselves in such an environment where we have access to everything, that's where we thrive and we achieve academic excellence and are able to be at the forefront of innovation and ensuring that university really is a leading research-intensive institution. Through academic excellence comes a successful student life, as I said. However, we need access to this life. And I firmly believe that it is the institution itself, management and staff that can give us students access to this. For us students to excel, we need access to learning materials such as laptops, we need textbooks, we need academic support structures, we need well-being support structures such as your clinics and the student counseling units, and to name a few, and most importantly, we need financial access and assistance. It is great that the institution has most of these facilities and support structures. As I said, we have the student health service, we have the student counseling unit. However, there is a need to improve the efficiency of these structures by both the students and the institution itself. So students have to make sure that they effectively use these facilities that are available, such as libraries, such as the mentors that we have, such as the tutors, the student faculty advisors, student administrators. They need to ensure that they engage with faculty executive committees, that is their leadership in faculties. They need to ensure that they engage with the SRC. They need to ensure that they utilize services such as career services to help them plan their path towards, work and all of that. And most importantly, the student counseling unit. So we need to ensure that as students, we also play our part in using these facilities. And if we have inputs to improve these facilities, we need to bring those forth in the various structures that we sit in as the SRCO, institutional forums, Senate councils, and also faculty executive committees. However, we need to also note that these need to be enhanced and advanced to be more accessible and effective, especially in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic that has introduced a hybrid learning and living environment. So, for example, now that everything is online, students don't have access to campus. We need to ensure that the student counseling unit accommodates students virtually. We need to ensure that faculty, student advisors are more accessible and administrators actually respond to the queries that students send. So when it comes to the role that the institution can play, and also hand in hand with the SRC and other student governance structures and UP societies, is to assist students in tapping into getting financial assistance so that we can have a successful student life. So we need to have a quality education, and really for you want to have a quality education, we need financial means for this. The institution has a financial aid office which assists students with getting funds for education. The office has assisted so many students, and if I'm not mistaken, in 2021, Prof, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, 8,000 students were assisted. Yes, 8,000 students were assisted. So financial aid has assisted many students, and I think that it can assist more students. So we need to go on a drive to sort of like make more students aware of it, because students really aren't aware of the financial aid office. So such facilities such as the financial aid office need to be well known by students, and I on this platform highly advise all students to go in the UP portals and make sure that they apply for financial aid. However, such facilities need to improve, and they need to play a crucial role in addressing South Africa's biggest pandemic in institutions of higher learning, which is historic debt. Such facilities and structures also need to look at not only catering for students that have high marks. I'm not saying that students shouldn't, thrive towards achieving high marks, but they also need to look into assisting students with average marks, because you need to take into consideration what makes them get those average marks. It could be that they're not in a good learning environment. Their learning environment is not that conducive. Yeah. It could be their background, where they come from at home. So such facilities also need to look into assisting more international students, because we have students from 80 countries. Yes, from 80 countries worldwide. So I think it needs to improve so that we can also assist international students, and most importantly, postgraduate students. Just because one person has attained their undergrad qualification, it doesn't guarantee them a job, especially in this country. We know how difficult it is for young people to get a job. So I think it's important that there's financial support and assistance for also postgrad students. So they also, such facilities as the financial aid also need to help us, students, and South Africa at large, realize a free quality education that is accessible to all students, despite their different walks of life. So when such support systems are accessible, everything, academic support systems, financial support systems, accessible and equal, we will see a successful student life, which will produce students that will take UP to the next level and ensure that we're really a leading institution in Africa and globally.
Well, thank you so much, Tutu, and really I want to commend you for really some important insights that you have relayed. And right next to you is the VC, it's Professor Omar, and I'm hoping that they are noting all of these important recommendations of how this plan can become a reality for the student voice. And so, Prof, keeping in line with what Tutu has just told us about what the kind of support and the role that they can play in making this plan a reality, I want to come to you and ask you, what's your view around how you think staff and students obviously can make sure that this plan gets rolled out and we all become active members and ambassadors and implementers of this plan in the university?
So, and you can have the most brilliant of plans, but if no one knows about the plan and these finer details, the plan is going to definitely fail. So rolling out, as we speak now, is going to be road shows to all segments of the university community to, if you like, socialize the plan, if you like, to that. What do I mean by socialize? For people to get to know the details, and also to make, as the SRC president, Ms. Mashile just made now, make suggestions to improving the plan. Because the plan is broad strokes, right? We need to put down the nut and bolts. And many of those plans, by the way, have the nut and bolts already. But people don't know about them yet because it was only passed in December. So a big rollout proactive plan is going, which we call a roadshow. And I think that will then once the people get to know the plan, my experience is working in university since I was 25 is people will come to the party. I mean, the president just indicated that, for example, she made a very direct call to the students. Go to the portal and apply for student aid. That's very, very important for the success of the plan. And as you implied, sometimes we have the financial aid, but there's no uptake simply because there's that communication gap, if you like. Our communications, our Directorate for Institutional Advancement is very strong and very good at communication. So as we speak right now, they are also going to produce some infographics and other forms of package communication across all of our media platforms to enable our people to get to know the plan. Knowing actually is being empowered. And only when you know and you're empowered can you actually, if you like, participate. So I'm very optimistic that that's going to happen.
Thank you, Prof. Kupi. So what I hear you saying is for all of us to be aware about the plan, to know what's in the plan, and to make sure that we make that plan our own plan and the reality for the university.
Yes. Ownership is key, whether it's transformation or whatever. If it's only a management of VC's plan, it will not succeed. It needs to be a community plan. And remember, it came from the community. As Dr. Omar said, people made lots of suggestions, which we took on board. If we then make it just a VC's plan, failure is guaranteed. We make everybody own it, success is guaranteed.
So UP community, as you heard, let's make sure that we make this plan our own plan. I only have time for one question from the audience, and I want to extend this particular question to Professor Omar. Professor Omar, there's a question that comes from our UP community and asks, who ensures the strategy is monitored and evaluated regularly to ensure we meet our objectives? Now, this is a very important question because, as we know, without monitoring and assessing whether we're still on the right track, this plan will mean nothing.
No, you're 100% right. If we do not monitor and we do not assess its implementation, then it becomes difficult to tell whether or not we're implementing the plan. So one important thing is, yes, we've got an institutional plan. That institutional plan has been operationalized in the form of faculty plans and in the form of professional services plans. So they speak to the key strategies, the key priorities that are captured in the plan. Now, to answer you directly, the executive plays a very important role in monitoring the implementation of the plan. Deans of faculties play a very important role in monitoring the implementation of the plan. Professional services departments, the directors play a very important role. A lot of this happens through the monitoring, the performance management system that is engendered here at the University of Pretoria. But in terms of the entity that actually has that direct responsibility, it's the Department of Institutional Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation. It's responsible for evaluating the implementation of the university plan. So the department regularly produces data and analysis that tracks the university's performance. This information and analysis are discussed in quarterly strategic meetings, that brings together the executive and deans and professional service directors. These reports and data is shared with Senate. It goes to the Academic Planning Committee. It goes into the various initiatives that are being implemented across the university. So, for example, Professor Norman Duncan runs the Chebi project. They meet, I think, once every 2 weeks, probably every week. And during those meetings, there's always data and analysis that comes from my department that shows how we're doing with students. Now, one last point is the monitoring and evaluation is also linked to critical moments in the life of the university across the university's academic calendar. So at this point, we are admitting students. Okay, so we are monitoring that process. And once that process is finished, we're going to produce a report. Of course, we regularly inform DSA and faculties in terms of whether they're meeting the enrollment targets. So we show them, we say, hey, this is how it's looking like. At the end of the registration period, we're going to produce a report. Last year, we did, students wrote exams.
Yeah.
So we're in the process of, once the summer school is finished, we're in the process of doing an analysis of how they performed in terms of the modules. So we want to look at the modules where students probably are not performing very well, and modules that are holding students back in terms of our student success initiative and those kinds of things. Every year, we produce a report for faculties that shows how they've performed against the various metrics that are agreed upon with them, And so there is an established process whereby planning is followed by implementation, and then is also followed by review. Of course, it doesn't operate linearly, but that's a key part of the strategy implementation process, and of course the lessons that we derive from the review that we conduct.
Well, thank you, Prof. Omar, for sharing that with us and for making sure that there's a framework in place that assesses whether we're actually still on track with our planning process. Colleagues, we have now unfortunately run out of time. If we've not answered your questions, not to worry. This is only the beginning of the conversation. The Vice-Chancellor will host a series of roadshows over the next few months. During these roadshows, the VC will be visiting faculties and departments to further engage and answer questions regarding the strategic plan. Before we go, I have a small surprise for our audience. As part of this birthday celebration, we thought it would be appropriate to do a lucky draw and give away prizes this morning. We have drawn 6 names from those who have RSVP'd for today's virtual event. These 6 people have each won a 500 Rand voucher that can be collected from the Marketing Services building on the Hatfield campus on Monday, 14 February 2022 at office number 3.17. The lucky winners are as follows: Lona Marks from the Human Resources Department, Dani Malan from Library Services, Omiki Kumisi, Health Sciences, Leanne Niels from NAS, Bonolo Moloka from EBIT, Ilana van Vrienden from the Office of the Registrar. Congratulations, and I hope you enjoy your prize. We have come to the end of our program. But before we go, allow me to thank our panelists this morning, Prof. Tawana Kupe, Professor Gerald Omar, and Ms. Tutu Mashile. A big thank you from myself and from the rest of the university community for making sure that we have a strategic plan which is titled Destination 2026 and Beyond. Lastly, a special thank you to you, the audience, for watching. I wish you a productive day further. Goodbye.